So I have with me right now approximately 10-year-old computer. And I can prove this to you by showing you the task manager and its CPU. It's got a 3rd gen Intel i5. If I come over here to Google and just search when the heck it was made, you can see that it was launched in Q3 of 2013. Which means that if today is 2023, we're in 2023 right now, that was about 10 years ago if my math is not incorrect. I had this idea. What if I try modern Roblox games on 2013 hardware? Not all games made in 2023 are the most visually demanding. Like, Please Donate is nowhere near as hard to run as Jailbreak or Arsenal, or one of those showcase type games. First thing we're gonna do is hop on into Jailbreak. Alright, so just loading into the game, it already makes this old machine look a little sluggish. It takes a hot minute to join. It actually gets a decent amount of FPS. Now, granted, I'm only at graphics 7. I can max it out. And for context, the GPU that I have in this system, I just found a random old video card, a 1070, and just tossed it in there. Because I don't believe this computer actually came with a video card. It was an office PC, if I remember right. So with both machines maxed out to graphics 10, and I believe Jailbreak does in fact run future lighting, which it looks like it is running, and everything is pretty much the same, with the exception that the new computer's running at 4K, a fairly modern resolution, and the old computer's running at 1080p, which is, you know, what people had in 2013. So we can see over here, you know, this will even give the old computer a bit of an advantage, because the new one, it's got a 4090 in it, and it can basically run everything. Yeah, we got like 40 FPS here, just chilling, looking at the Jailbreak city. And now we can just go ahead and start flying around the map. And as we follow this helicopter around, my new computer, which is looking over here, is getting about roughly like 200 FPS for reference. The old one seems to be getting about like 70, 80, something like that. Yeah. In the middle of the city of Jailbreak. A lot of people like to spend their time here, and I'm getting a solid 130 FPS looking this way. My old one, I'm getting less than 60. I'm max graphics granted. What if we drop the graphics on both machines down to 7, which is the optimal one I've found so far for playing this game? At that point, my old one's, you know, chilling here at easily over 100 FPS. Yep, this is around 100. And my new one is at like 250. So it's about like 2.5 to 3 times more performant on a new computer versus a machine from literally 10 years ago. We're going to fly, you know, just around the map, and I'll just give you a sense of how playable it is. And actually, you know, we should probably swap accounts because, you know, seeing my helicopter move on the, you know, my main account being flown because I have all the vehicles, you could probably tell that that computer runs smooth because I'm not sure if you guys noticed, turning animations on helicopters are directly affected by your FPS. So now that we're over here, you can noticeably tell that the helicopters turn a whole lot slower, and we are going to be actually in control. So is this a playable experience? Usually people define playable as above 60, although for games like this, I like to say, you know, 90 to 120 is probably more optimal. So playable at 60, definitely above 60 right now. We're chilling like 100, 120 FPS, which is like really decent, if like not still pretty good for a 10-year-old computer. A slightly newer than 10, but still almost 10-year-old video card in it. Yeah, so we're chilling 100 FPS, just flying around the map. Granted, I'm not at max settings, but no one really plays games max settings on Roblox nowadays, because it's horribly optimized. So, yeah, that's beside the point. So Jailbreak runs pretty well, with a solid, you know, few, like 100-ish FPS. Now we hop into another game like Arsenal or something like that and see how that performs, because maybe Arsenal is a little sluggish, maybe it's easier to run, who knows, we'll go give it a test. Alright, so I'm inside of Arsenal right now. I'm just changing some settings here to make sure that, you know, it matches typical stuff. So kill effects we can turn off, ragdolls on, shadows off, you know, typical settings, so it can run as best as we can. And we're chilling at a solid like 100 FPS here. So let me make sure my graphics are graphics 7. Honestly, in this game, we could probably drop it down to 1. It doesn't really matter as much because it's Arsenal. And if we just go around here and start playing, This is definitely a very, very playable game right here. Like, we can go ahead and get some kills. Somebody just killed me, and you can see that this is definitely very, very playable. 10 years in 2023 might seem like a long time, but when you think about it, it's just 2013, and computers were semi-decent back then. And to be fair, this is about, like, what, 7 years after Roblox was made, so it's not like, you know, it was not designed for this hardware. More than likely it was. So we're chilling easy, solid, like 150, which is playable for basically any shooter game. Like, that is solid. Like, most monitors can't even display 140 FPS. Only, like, the very high-end stuff can. But yeah, I don't even have this computer hooked up to like a high refresh rate monitor. It's only on like a 60 hertz one. So considering that all we really need to do is get 60 frames a second, this computer blows it right out of the water. Very, very, very playable for a 10-year-old machine. So, you know, maybe like if you guys do look for a new computer, a 10-year-old machine might not be so far out of the question. Although it might not be the best, and might not be the best value for your money. It's playable, and you could probably find them for like 100, 150, maybe a little bit more than that, but still, for a $100 computer in terms of like value nowadays, it's pretty decent. So we've tried 2 games where FPS usually tends to matter, like combat games, driving games, action games, FPS, stuff like that. Now, what about just a game that you just sit there and like trade princess crowns in? That's a game like, you know, Royal High. So we're gonna try out Royal High just for kicks and giggles. Alright, so we loaded into one of the more demanding Royal High maps. And even then, okay, well, to be fair, our graphics 1 because of Arsenal. We crank it up, and we're still chilling above 60 FPS. This 10-year-old computer is surprisingly beefy. And even it's not even like an i7 or anything too crazy. It's like the lowest tier i5 you can probably get. So yeah, this computer's straight out of 2013, and it's running fairly modern Roblox games pretty well. Like, this game you don't even necessarily need beyond 60 FPS. Like, you're just sitting here, walking around. I feel a little out of place in my bacon hair, but I don't care, you know. We're chilling in this game at a solid 45, 50 FPS, and you could easily play Royal High like this. I think a lot of them play on mobile or something. 60 FPS is probably like the limit you can get on mobile. For, you know, a desktop from 10 years ago versus like a modern phone, I'd say it's a fair comparison. If it was a 10-year-old phone, then it's a different story, but that's beyond the point. I'm honestly kind of surprised that this 10-year-old computer is still holding up quite strong. Especially for, like, more modern games. And I feel like if I go into, like, Pet Simulator, like, those super low-poly games, it's gonna run butter smooth on this machine, probably. We can go ahead and try that out, okay? We're gonna head into Pet Simulator X, even though I've never touched that game, I have no idea how it performs. But I feel like it should run pretty well. Loading in here, at the menu screen, we're getting a solid, what is that, like, 300 FPS, something stupid. I'll go ahead and skip this loading, and we're gonna go ahead and just hop right on in here. We're gonna pick a random stuff, and yeah, we're chilling. Pet Simulator X at maximum graphics, which I don't know why you would need to play this game at maximum graphics. It's literally AFK farming half the time, and you could definitely AFK farm using what, 150 FPS. It's easy. And let's check it. We're maxed out. So 1080p, maxed out, Pet Simulator X, walk in the park. Honestly, I feel like Jailbreak's the most intensive game in, like, that we've actually tested where FPS matters, so if it can run Jailbreak, it can basically run everything. So we tried Jailbreak VIP server. What about the Jailbreak public server? Because those things are just horrible. Oh yeah, we got a juicy, juicy server here. Okay, so loading in at max graphics, that's kind of playable. It's chilling around like 60, 70. It's definitely playable, but once, like, you know, you go to high refresh rate, it might feel a little sluggish. But 40 FPS at graphics at max 10 at 1080p, that's alright. I think we can do a bit better. Let's drop the graphics down a little bit to 7, and looking like it's a lot more playable now. Helicopter sure might still turn very slowly, but hey, it's running at like almost 60 FPS in a server of like 20 some odd people. You know, if I was a broke kid who just, you know, started middle school or something and wanted to play Roblox, I would have taken this computer easily. Especially nowadays. Like, if it can handle Jailbreak, like me flying around here at 60 FPS, at a decent level of graphics, and sure, I tossed in like a slightly newer, but not even, but still, that video card's like 8 years old at this point. It's old enough. And it's still running pretty decently. Now, of course you're gonna need a video card to run Roblox. Like, it's not gonna run on integrated graphics, like, definitely not from 10 years ago. It doesn't even run on integrated graphics nowadays, so yeah, you definitely need to put a video card in your system, but it's running perfectly fine. Yeah, I guess that's basically running Roblox on literal 10-year-old hardware. It's a pretty interesting experiment, kind of cool to see the results, but yeah, it's still very, very playable. Like, I remember playing Lumber Tycoon 2 on this computer. It's the same one I started my channel on, for those of you curious. Makes sense that I can still run modern Roblox, even though it's 10 years old. Anyway, I guess I'll wrap it up here. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to press like, comment, and subscribe, and, you know, turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Wear bacon hair, and, yeah, stay bacon, stay winning, and I'll see you guys next time.